Marcus Ericsson, Swedish, racing driver, to win championship in GP2.
So you've done 2 seasons now in GP2, and you will be with iSport again in 2012. Must be good to know all the team members and mechanics and race engineer and so forth.
Yeah, I mean it's great to be staying with iSport for a 3rd year in the series and a 2nd year with them. I think last year was a good year for me. I developed a lot as a driver, and I mean GP2 is not an easy championship. It's the hardest championship around, I think, and to think you can go in there and win it or do that in the beginning is really not possible. But yeah, I've managed to get another deal with iSport for 2012, and I'm really looking forward to it. I mean it's going to be a great year, and I know all the people in the team and they believe in me and I believe in them, so it's just going to be really exciting to get starting soon again.
Yeah, I've written it before. This will be the iSport year.
Yeah.
What are the changes, apart from the fact that you will have a new teammate, Julian Palmer? Will there be, if you're looking at things like, will the library on the car be the same?
I think it's going to be slightly different, but more or less the same. I was over at the team last week, and there was some small differences in the design, but it's more or less going to look the same: blue and red, and a bit of white, and of course the big Olsbergs stickers on the whole car. So yeah, you're going to be able to recognize me, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a beautiful car, so we'll be looking at it on the tracks. And yeah, when you look at all the other drivers' cars, you see stickers, small and large stickers all over the car. But in your car it's a very clean, good looking car, and it just says Olsbergs. And I thought that if you, the viewer, don't remember anything else from this interview, I teach you a bit that it's Olsbergs. You will always remember how it's spelled. When I talk to people, they often say that, oh, it's so great of Olsbergs to sponsor Marcus. I really loved him in the TV shows På spåret and Här är ditt liv. I'm going to show you now how it's spelled. Look very closely. There's no D, but there's an S at the end. It's Olsbergs. So it has nothing to do with some daft TV host from Gothenburg telling bad jokes. And the man behind Olsbergs is Göran Henriksson.
Correct, yeah.
And I thought that even I, who is very interested in motorsports, and if you are in Swedish motorsports, you see Olsbergs everywhere. What do Olsbergs do? They do precision hydraulic valves. You see them on mobile cranes, on trucks and forest harvesters. And what's unique with them is they are load sensing. This means that no matter if you put 1 kilo or 10 tons on the crane, it will behave similarly. And I think Olsbergs was one of the first to have a radio-controlled crane. So now you know what Olsbergs is. Never forget how it's spelled. But would this travel at all have been possible without Olsbergs as a sponsor?
No, of course. I mean, Olsbergs has been there for me all the years through Formula Cars, and I cannot thank them enough. And obviously also the other people behind that is supporting me in different ways, and all the other sponsors, my personal sponsors, and everyone. Every single one is important, but yeah, it's for sure Olsbergs have been super important for me, and they still believe in me, which is great. And yeah, as you say, I think the Olsbergs logo is the best branded in the whole paddock. You know, I mean, everyone that's looking at GP2 knows the Olsbergs name for sure. So that's a good thing.
Well, thanks, Göran Henriksson. You're doing a great job. There will be some changes to the GP2 series this year. There will be the GP2 and the GP2 Asia as one series. We're going from 9 race weekends to 12. And the first race will be at Sepang track in Malaysia. It's a new track. Have you been there?
No, I've never been to the track or Malaysia, but I've already done quite a lot of work on the simulator on the track, and I think it's a good track. It seems to be really good fun to drive with all mix of high-speed corners, chicanes, and slow-speed corners and long straights. So I'm sure it's going to be good track to race on, and I think it's going to be really good races as well. Very entertaining for all the people that's watching, and hopefully we'll perform a lot of good racing down there.
And the other track, which you have obviously not driven, is the last of the season, which is the Singapore track. To those who don't know, it's a street track, so you can't do racing there otherwise. So, have you been starting looking at that track as well?
I haven't started to driven the simulator on there. We have plenty of time to do it, I think. So, but yeah, that track looks really amazing, and I mean they drive on the night time as well. So to do that as the final of the GP2 series is gonna be super great, and I'm really looking forward to that. And hopefully we'll be there and fight for the championship when we get there to Singapore in the end of September.
I'm already starting to looking forward to it. Speaking about this season, will you be doing anything differently, or will you just be doing it even better?
I mean, we need to keep working hard and keep develop ourselves, and I think both the team and me, we know that we need to focus a lot on the qualifying because we've been having this year a bit of a problem to qualify well, and that's something that we've been working on over the winter, and it's going to work on now in the beginning of the year to make sure we are on top of that problem so we can qualify where we should be. If we are able to do that, to make that step to qualify high, I think we can be really competitive during the year, because in the races we have shown many times that we are very, very strong. So the main area for us to focus on is the qualifying, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I want to see you top 6 at all races.
Yeah, that's the deal.
That's the deal. Yeah, great. There will be some other changes. The scoring system will be adapted to the Formula 1. You will also have 2 tire compounds, soft and the one softer and one harder. Have you been discussing with iSport the strategies for when to use it? You don't have to say when you will be doing it, but have you been discussing that strategies?
Yeah, I mean, we started to discuss and think about it and plan, but it's going to be difficult. Obviously, on the qualifying, you would think we need to use the soft tire because it's usually quicker, but we need to test the different compounds in the testing now in end of February and beginning of March, and see how they behave on race runs and all these things. So the testing is going to be really important to get a lot of information of the tires there, and then from there on you need to plan and see what the plan is going to be for Malaysia, and see how we will do with the tires.
Yeah, it will be another interesting strategy between the teams, how they will be using it. It's off season now, and I guess you've been training a bit this winter. We've just been out with your rally car. Unfortunately, there's been a lack of snow, but you've been out torturing that poor car a bit. Do you learn anything, or is it just for fun?
I think with the rally car, I mean, obviously it's an old Opel Ascona, so it's nothing like a GP2 car, but still it's the steering wheel and the pedals, like in every car. So I think you always pick up something, you get some feeling, and you keep your head in the game in a way. So I think it can never be bad to do these things, and if you learn something, that's always a positive. And also on the plus side, of course, it's very good fun. So yeah, it's all positives, and it's better than sitting home and do nothing, I think. So for sure, it's a good thing to do.
Yeah, well, we've said it before, you need to have fun to do great things. Another thing you've been doing is you have been testing the TTA car. Just a bit of background. In Sweden we have one touring car championship, had last year Swedish touring car championship. This year there will be a second touring car championship, first called TTA, and now it's the elite series of racing. So you've been testing the car before it's into production. What's the car like?
Yeah, I mean, it's been really exciting actually, because I got the call from the organization behind TTA, and they called me in December and asked if I was interested to be part of the development of the car. And I've never really done anything like that before. I'd never driven a car with the roof, so for me it was quite exciting to try it. And I've done a couple of days in the car, and it's been really good fun because you learn a lot when developing a car. And actually the car, I was expecting it to be a lot heavier and, you know, very different to drive from a GP2 car, but it's a proper racing car. It's really direct and it's really good fun to drive. So I think the series is going to be a big success in Sweden if it's everything comes together. But for sure the car is really good fun to drive, and it's going to be good racing, I guess. So I hope it's going to be a success in Sweden because it's have a great potential.
So you've been developing the car that you will be driving in 15 years.
Yeah, exactly.
We hope to see you back in Sweden, and you're welcome back in 15 years.
Yeah, not earlier than that.
One thing I was thinking about, if I break a leg, it's no disaster. As an air traffic controller, you can have a wheelchair. But for you, it would be disaster. Is it something you are thinking about, or doing things more carefully, or is it's bound to happen? And how do you think about it?
It's a difficult one. I think I think you should not try and find difficult situations. You know, you should not be stupid and do things that you know is a big risk, but still you need to live and do things you want to do. So it's a fine line there. But for me, you know, I try not to do the biggest risk things, you know, like with the skiing. I don't do so much skiing because I don't really mind not doing it, and I know it's a big risk of getting an injury, break something. So that, for example, I don't do that much. But still, you know, you can go out on the street to buy something in the shop and you can get hit by a car or anything. So, you know, you need to still to live, but it's just not to try to not be stupid.
So you're not doing hill climbing in that?
No, exactly.
Oh, good. What gets you really mad at track? I'm just thinking about Valencia last year. I'm not naming any names, but is there anything that gets you really mad?
Yeah, I mean, you always get during a race, it goes up and down, but I think you always need to be focused and not trying to get mad when you're driving, because it's not going to help you. You need to focus on what you can change and what you can do yourself, and that's where you need to have the focus all the time, and that's really important because that's where you're going to get the results from.
So don't try to get him mad. He's a calm Swede. My only experience in racing is a couple of years in karting, but what I learned was that after a while you could know how a driver would behave. Now there are some new drivers to the GP2. We don't know all of them. How do you adapt your driving regarding to who are close to you on the track?
Yeah, that's something you learn, you know, in the beginning of the season and against guys you've driven against before. And I mean, I think you learn who you can trust and not trust, and who you can race clean and close with, and who's not able to do that. I won't name anyone, but yeah, that's something you learn, and it's always very important to have respect for each other because it's high speeds, and yeah, it's very important between us drivers that we have good respect for each other.
So in the beginning you have to take detours around the new drivers until you know how they behave then?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.